Hello, students. Good morning. Once again, come back to the class with a new session. But before going to a new session, we will try to take a recap of what we have discussed. In my previous session, I have spoken about Human Genome Project. That is, what is Human Genome Project? What are the goals? Then what are the methodologies? What are the salient features and what are the applications of Human Genome Project? Hope so you have understood that. Children, if you have any doubts, please put your questions on the WhatsApp so that we can answer it. So now in today's session, I'm going to continue with the class. That is, we are going to discuss about DNA fingerprinting. So what is DNA fingerprinting? What is the principle behind it? How it is being carried out? And there are some few terminologies you have to understand. And ultimately, what is the application of DNA fingerprinting? So now, let me come for the definition of DNA fingerprinting. DNA fingerprinting involves identifying DNA of different persons by locating differences in some specific regions in DNA sequence called as repetitive DNA or tandem repeats. I'll repeat once again. It involves DNA fingerprinting involves identifying DNA of different persons by locating differences in some specific region in DNA sequences called as repetitive DNA or tandem repeats. So here what DNA fingerprinting is going to do is, so you have studied in HGP in human beings. There are many, you can say, sites where nitrogenous base sequences are repeated. So therefore, those repetitive regions will be different in different individuals. So those regions are going to be identified, and based on that, the persons can be recognized. So therefore, this phenomenon of identifying a person based on the DNA sequences which are more commonly repeated at frequent intervals and which is specific for every individual is the technique behind DNA fingerprinting. So now this technique was, what can say, identified, or it was discovered by Sir Alex Jeffreys and his team in 1984. So what is the thing he has done? He has used satellite DNA as probe that shows very high degree of polymorphism, which he called it as variable number of tandem repeats, VNTR. So please try to remember this abbreviation VNTR, variable number of tandem repeats. That is what has Alex Jeffreys done. So he has identified what we call it as satellite DNA. So we are going to discuss about satellite DNA in the very short part of the next concept. So I will explain that. That is, this satellite DNA is the sequence present in our DNA which shows high degree of polymorph. That is, the arrangement of this DNA in satellite DNA is different at different intervals, and it is different at different individuals. So therefore, Alex Jeffreys in DNA fingerprinting, he has made to highlight, he has tried to take photography of satellite DNA and recognize the person based on that. So this is a very, very important technology that has come out. Now, what is the principle behind DNA fingerprinting? How exactly DNA fingerprinting works out? That is, about 99.9% of base sequences in human beings is same. This forms the bulk DNA. Yes, you have studied in Human Genome Project salient feature, that is, in all human beings the arrangement of base sequences is one and the same, that is 99.9% is same. So this base sequences which is common to all human beings, where 99.9% is same. This is called bulk DNA or major DNA. Now we are not concentrating on this in DNA fingerprinting, but some specific regions in DNA sequence which represent 0.1% differ from bulk DNA. Yeah, this is very important. So 99.9% DNA is same. 0.1% of DNA arrangement or the base sequences in the 0.1% of DNA differs. So, in this small stretch, the nitrogenous bases are repeated many times. So, these, what can I say, 0.1% of DNA sequences where nitrogenous bases are more frequently repeated is called as repetitive DNA, or it is called as satellite DNA, or it is called as non-functional DNA. So thus, from this what we understand is human genome contains two parts. One is the bulk DNA, which is same to all human beings, and other one is repetitive DNA or satellite DNA or non-functional DNA, which represents 0.1%. So therefore, in DNA fingerprinting, Alec Jeffreys has taken a procedure to identify the differences in the arrangement of nitrogenous base pairs or sequences in repetitive DNA or satellite DNA or non-functional DNA. So therefore, DNA fingerprinting is taking the photography or recognizing the photographic picture or arrangement of nitrogenous base sequences in repetitive DNA, or what we call it as satellite DNA. So if we try to do this, the arrangement is different in different individuals. So therefore this is a very important way by which DNA fingerprinting can be done. So thus in DNA fingerprinting we are going to identify satellite DNA or the arrangement of nitrogenous bases in satellite DNA. Now let us try to understand more about satellite DNA. As I told you, satellite DNA can be defined as a small stretch of DNA that is repeated many times is called as satellite DNA, repetitive DNA or non-functional DNA. So how we can separate this? So this repetitive DNA or satellite DNA is separated from bulk DNA or major DNA by density gradient centrifugation. That is, you know that when we break down the bulk DNA and satellite DNA, the bulk DNA will have more molecular weight. Satellite DNA, since they are small sequences which are having a same sequence at different interval, so when they are separated, their molecular weight will be less. So therefore, when you subject to centrifugation, based on their molecular weight, bulk DNA and what can say satellite DNA get separated, and then they form different peaks. So the bulk DNA forms the major peak and satellite DNA forms the small peak. So you can see in this diagram, there is the graphic representation which is obtained of human DNA after carrying out what we can call density gradient centrifugation, or we call Bion density gradient. So now if you see this graph, you can see there are three peaks here. Main band, this is called the bulk DNA, whereas you see satellite DNA, they are giving different peaks. It is dependent upon how many base sequences are present on that. So therefore, satellite DNA can be easily separated because of molecular weight based on density gradient centrifugation. So therefore, this small stretches of DNA which are repeated more frequently are called as satellite DNA. Now this satellite DNA is categorized into different types. How? The main criteria to classify the satellite DNA is based on the adenine thymine rich DNA or guanine cytosine rich DNA. That is, in some satellite DNA, adenine and thymine will be more frequently repeated, whereas in some satellite DNA, guanine and cytosine bases will be more frequently repeated. So therefore, based on this, and number of repetitive units. The satellite DNA is categorized into different categories. Among them, two important categories are microsatellites, where it will contain 1 to 6 or more base pair. That is a very small short fragments of DNA having either one nitrogenous base pair or up to 6 nitrogenous base pair or little more. So this is called as microsatellite, whereas second one is mini satellite. So it is bigger than microsatellite. It will contain 10 to 60 base pairs. So therefore this is quite bigger when compared to the earlier one. So this sequences, that is the satellite DNA sequences, either microsatellites or mini satellites, what is their role in human being? They do not code for any proteins. So they are not used as mRNA. They do not carry message for protein synthesis. Hence they are not involved in protein synthesis. But still they are known to be present in human DNA, where they form larger portion of human genome. So therefore, these sequences of satellite DNA show high degree of polymorphism. That is, they show differences in the arrangement of nitrogenous base pair in different individuals. Hence, these are taken as the basic tools for DNA fingerprinting. So therefore, this is about satellite DNA. So in our body, which are the, what can say, components which can be used where we can see satellite DNA with high degree of polymorphism? That is DNA from our every tissue like blood, hair follicles, skin, bone, saliva, sperm. That is almost all our body parts are known to contain satellite DNA. So therefore, this satellite DNA are taken as a very important tool in forensic application. That is, today to identify crime or to identify criminals. So DNA fingerprinting is one of the best tool, and here the main criteria is to recognize the arrangement of nitrogenous base sequences in satellite DNA. Now let us come for which why do we make use of this? That is, as the polymorphisms are inheritable from parents to children, DNA fingerprinting is the basis for paternity testing in case of disputes. That is, yes, already I have told you, the arrangement of base pairs is different in different individuals, and it can be transferred from parents to children. And remember, here you may have one doubt, that is the satellite DNA may be similar in parents and children. No doubt. Again, I can tell you 99.9% may be same. But again, 0.1% will differ. So therefore, there will be close correlation between the satellite DNA of parents and children, that you will understand when we see the procedure for DNA fingerprinting, and when you see the photograph of that DNA fingerprinting, how we can identify the criminals, or how we can identify children who belong to a particular parent. So therefore, since satellite DNA has got major, it's repeated and it is having structural differences in arrangement, it shows great polymorphism. This has been used as a best tool in DNA fingerprinting. So now let us go to the one of the important terminology, that is variable number of tandem repeats. VNTR. I already told you this is a very important abbreviation. What is this variable number of tandem repeats? Variable number of tandem repeats belongs to a class of satellite DNA referred to as mini satellite. Yes, very important. Now, which is that which type of satellite DNA is used for DNA fingerprinting? It is not microsatellite, it is mini satellite. So therefore, this is the small DNA sequence arranged tandemly in many copy number. Tandemly means the base sequences are will be same in opposite, complementary base pairs will be same. So therefore, this is what we can call as variable number of tandem repeats. So this variable number of tandem repeats varies from chromosome to chromosome in an individual. So therefore, this not only varies from one individual to another individual, it also shows very high degree of polymorphism where its size may vary from 0.1 to 20 kilobase. That is, the repetitive sequences may be up to from 0.1 kilobases, that is 100 bases to 2000 bases, the arrangemental variation can occur. So therefore, this is used as one of the best tool for DNA fingerprinting. So now we will go for DNA polymorphism. What is this DNA polymorphism? Another important terminology. DNA polymorphism is the appearance of heritable mutation in the individuals of population at high frequency. I'll repeat. DNA polymorphism is the appearance of heritable mutation, that is the mutations which are inherited, which occurs in parent, is transferred even to children, and in the individuals of population at high frequency, that is these mutations are known to be present in more individuals of the population. Or you can define it as allelic sequence variation at a locus occurs in human population with a frequency greater than 0.01 base pair, is also called as DNA polymorphism. That is arrangement of nitrogenous base pairs. The difference in arrangement of nitrogenous base pairs on DNA or in a gene among the population or among the individuals of population is what we call it as DNA polymorphism. So this DNA polymorphism in non-coding DNA sequence would be higher, as the mutations in these sequences may not have any immediate impact or impact in an individual's reproductive ability, but they keep on accumulating generation after generation and form one of the bases of variability and polymorphism. That is, the DNA polymorphism in non-coding regions will be more, because if a mutation occurs in this non-coding region, they are not going to be expressed. They are not going to show immediate impact. So therefore, that what can say mutations in non-coding region is called as DNA polymorphism, even though they do not express character, but they keep on accumulating. So that is, mutations which have occurred in non-coding region, the number of mutations may vary in different individuals. So when a parent transfer from one generation to another, depending upon the number of mutation occurs in non-coding region, this sequences will be present, and this DNA polymorphism is going to be different starting from single nucleotide to a very large number of nucleotide, and this is going to play a very important role in evolution and speciation. So now even in can say this DNA fingerprinting, this is going to be used as one of the important criteria for identifying the arrangement of nitrogenous bases in satellite DNA, or what we call it as variable number of tandem repeats. So this is with regarding to DNA polymorphism. So until now we have learned what is DNA fingerprinting, who discovered it, what is satellite DNA, what is variable number of tandem repeats, and what is DNA polymorphism. So with this background, in the next part of the session we are going to discuss about the steps or the process of DNA fingerprinting. So we will go for the next session.